steps for creating a new job. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to job details on the home screen. And then you've got all of your icons right here. Each of these are used to either add to the job you're on, or you can create a new one. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to add a new job. And the date automatically populates with today's date. The job number is automatically takes the next job number in line in sequential order. And the job name, which is probably the most important of this, is the title of the job, and then any POs or anything, numbers that are associated with that job. So let's just say we get a PO for installing speakers in the West Wing. And the PO number is 44242. Then in the next section, the job details and descriptions, this is where you'll write obviously a detailed description of it. And the reason for that is this will be used on the invoice. So let's say there's a job that we don't have a PO on, and they call us and they say, hey, can you get here? We get some kind of email confirmation from somebody. So in this point, we would break this down a little bit further so that if we're invoicing it, the accounts receivable person on the customer side, when they go to approve this, they'll be able to easily reference it and understand what the job was about. So we would say something like room 442 in the West Wing, lost overhead speakers. We were called in to repair on Saturday. Okay, and then the customer. So the customer is usually going to be listed on the PO, or it would be in an email that would be sent to you, where someone would say, hey, can you make a job number? You're going to take either the name of the person on the email or the name on the PO, or who it's for. So we're going to use University of Rochester for an example. So, because a lot of times the POs will reference that on there. So University of Rochester, the service address is always okay. And then their billing address is usually the same. Sometimes it's this, sometimes it's this over here. Jess will have the bead on what that would be. Then we're going to choose from our customer contact name. So if somebody's not on here, you can add them to it. But what it does is every time we make a job for somebody, their name automatically gets added to this list. So, and that just makes it easier to input their emails and everything else. So for this one, we're going to just choose Donald Cabes. And the foreman is going to be myself. And the PM is going to be, the foreman is usually isn't decided right away. If it's a University of Rochester job, it's usually Justin. But if you don't have anybody to put in there, you could just put myself or Brian in there. But these are very important. You probably will have to come back and edit these ones here later. Probably all three of these. Because these are the people who are going to receive all the contact information related to that project when there's updates. So when you have submittals added, bulletins added, change orders added, RFIs added, this team right here is going to be the one who gets that information. So it's important to come back later and edit this with the appropriate people, and either the PM or yourself, really anybody can edit that. So somebody's just got to kind of keep their eye on it. Right here is where you're going to put the contract value. And then in this upload contractor PO section, so if we get a PDF that has the PO number for the purchase order from the customer to us to do the work, or the contract, which is a larger document on contract jobs. We're going to upload that here. So just for simplicity's sake, we're just going to choose a random one from this. Now, the project class, right? So this is used on my kind of data analysis reports that I run. Again, this is something that can be updated later on. For the most part, if it's a University of Rochester job, it will be data controls. If it is a larger contract job, it's usually a public remodel. And what it means by public is anytime there's government money involved, it's considered like a public job. So these are usually tax exempt, larger contract jobs, or they're jobs that are done at schools, the county jobs, anything like that, where government money is involved. That's considered a public job. Where private is stuff like if we're going to do a local restaurant or anything like that. So since it's University of Rochester, that's going to be private data controls. The local is since we are a union shop, there are different locals, and these locals are determined by a map, and it's got it's not like any specific county. They have their own lines that are drawn throughout the state, and the locals vary by that. So, or split up, I should say, by that. So most of our work is in Local 86 because that's kind of the Rochester and surrounding areas locals. So that's why it defaults to that bit in the beginning. Yeah, but the more familiar you get with this, you'll be able to reference the union map and see where that address falls in which local. And this is important because this actually ties to the pay that the guys receive, because each local has different compensation packages. So when they do their time on the app, it pulls their pay based on the local of the job that they're working in. So again, this can be edited later, and Jess or accounting will make adjustments on the app if they see that these are coming in out of the wrong local. Right here you have contract or service job. So a service job is basically jobs that don't require RFIs, submittals. There's not really usually change orders on those. They're usually like less than 100,000. Smaller jobs, you go in, you do the job, and you get out. Contract jobs are jobs that require a lot more documentation. This is what most of your public remodels will be. These are usually higher value jobs. And these are the jobs that will have submittals, bulletins, change orders, RFIs on them. So for demonstration's sake, we're going to use a contract job because you're going to see additional drop downs come down if that is the case. So for here you have web portal for documents. Now, all of these contract jobs have a certain website where they have you upload the submittals, the bulletins, the change orders, and RFIs. And I will, I've already pre-populated these on your Google. I don't know, I can't think of on your internet browser. And these are for each job. These are the typical ones that are on there. So you can see right here, we have new forma, and just to give you an idea of what these look like. Right here you have Batavia, Rochester, Maplewood. So for something like this, I would basically just copy this link and I would post this if this was the one for the job. Now this can be done after the fact again, because you usually don't have this right off the bat. But it just makes it easier because there are so many of these that when you're bouncing around, if you have this, then you can just get it off from the job details page versus trying to remember where each web portal is. So tax exempt, most contract and public jobs are tax exempt since it is taxpayer money. And this is important because anytime you make a purchase, you have to send out for these jobs. So anytime we buy material for these jobs, if the job is tax exempt, we have to send out what's called an ST-120 form. So the app actually automatically sends these out as long as the job is listed as tax exempt. Upload prints and specs. I'll make another video on that, but this can be done after the fact. Same with pencil pay app due date. This actually, when you set this date, actually sends a reminder to accounting, and there's their own calendar on there where they get notifications that a pay app pencil due date is upcoming. So this is important, but it's usually done after the fact. MWBE requirements on this project. This is another thing that is typically done after the fact, or if you receive this information from PM. This is important right here because we actually have the tracking built into the app already. So once you list all your minority contractors on here, anytime you start writing a PO to them, then it actually goes to it calculates the total amount spent with them versus how much we have listed that we're going to use. Basically, the money that we're going to spend with minority contractors on this job. So let's say we had $100,000 written into our contract that we have to use for minority contractors. The app will actually track how much we spend with the minority contractor, so we don't have to manually do this. But again, that'll be another video, and you can upload that after the fact. So as you can see, it auto saves once you fill out the last cell. So now it's creating the job in the app. We're just going to sit here and wait for this. And once that is done, then the next step is going to be creating the new job folder down here. So since this is a contract job, right, you have a contract folder template and a service folder template. Depending on which you choose when creating the job in the app, you're going to copy that contract folder template. You're going to paste it in the year, obviously, that you're working. So that paste all the documentation that we need on it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to rename the job number that we just built. So as you can see here, I've actually kind of done it already. The PO number is a little bit different, but this is what it would look like right here. And that's really all you need to do for creating a job.